Welcome to the Final Score Network and the Final Score podcast presented by Team Anders Realtors. I'm Andy. He's former NCAA student athlete and co-host.
Ryan, Cam, two-hand monster flush off the inbound. Ryan, Cam, slam, jam.
Subscribe to us on Podbean, the Apple Podcast Store, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at TheFinalScore35 and TikTok at AGSpartanFan35. Oh, and one more note before we get started.
I'd like to apologize to anyone I've not offended yet. Please be patient. I'll get to you shortly.
Welcome into the first TFS pod of 2023. We made it. Crazy as 2023 already. Episode 105. The 42 game, or what is it, 41 games done or 42 games done? Whatever. There's one left. We got one college football game left and we'll crown a champ. College basketball conference play starting up. NFL 1 week left. Then it's the playoffs. Some playoff spots on the line next week. Lots of stuff to dive into. I'm going to jump right into the podium. Thoughts and prayers with Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills and his family. Just a tragic, just awful thing happened in that game. Just shows anything can happen. Life is so precious. Poor guy, his mom was at the game. Just made a tackle and stood up and fell down, and he's fighting for his life. So prayers out to him and his family, his teammates. I just want to talk about the support just shown from people, just in general, the teams playing, the Bills praying with the Bengals, Bills doing on their own. The ESPN coverage during that was insanely good. Lisa Salters, the sideline reporter, was really good. Then the studio, can't remember who was the lady that was in there. I can't remember. She did a really good job. And then Booger McFarland and Adam Schefter also did a really good job.
Oh, Susie Colbert,
yep. And then Buck and Aikman also did a nice job with it. And then going over to ESPN Sports Center after SVP, all class, him and Ryan Clark, phenomenal job. Then Dan Orlovsky, saw a really good video of him earlier. It's just been an outpouring of support for him, which is really good to see, because that's the last thing you want to see in anything, especially in a sport where you think nothing like that can happen, and it can. It's crazy. Just wild stuff. So prayers out to him. Hopefully he makes a recovery. Sounds like he's doing at least maybe a little bit better. He's got his vitals back to normal as of last night, which is good.
Still intubated. But according to his uncle, like about an hour ago, there's a little bit less mixture of oxygen being pumped into him. Still in an ICU, still unconscious. Yeah,
just really tough.
One of those. I had a podium in mind, but I'm going to push it to the college football section. But so I'll continue on. This is just one of those things, in 49 years, you just don't. In my life, you just don't see things like that. Now, a couple things recently come to mind in Cincinnati. Tua this year, because he played with a concussion when he shouldn't have, and that was scary. Ryan Shazier a couple years ago in Cincinnati, paralyzed on the field, and I think just now can maybe walk again. I don't even know if he can, but came back from paralyzed, not moving at all, and you wait, like they were talking about in that coverage last night, for the thumbs up, and it just never came. And I am definitely one that gives ESPN a lot of because I really don't like ESPN. I think they're way too liberal and they're way too political for a sports network, but I thought last night they did a great job. I mean, Ryan rattled it off. Susie Colbert, those guys had a hard job. Adam Schefter and Booger and Susie, what are you talking about? Why? I mean, yes, on people's minds there's major playoff implications with this game. That's not even secondary. It's not even in the top 100 of things to be concerned about right now, but it's true. But everybody from Lisa Salter to Troy and Joe, the studio's SVP was fantastic, and really careful to make sure that he and ESPN were reporting nothing but facts instead of speculating, because that's what social media is for. People speculate all the time, and I'll speculate. I really pray that this isn't true, but I have a sinking feeling. Yes, I've seen some things and I've heard some things about. It might have been one of those things. There's a name for it. My buddy Dauber sent it to me. I don't have it handy, but like basically when you take a hard hit to the heart, people would die in car accidents because of it or whatever. Sometimes younger kids die in baseball or softball if they take a line drive off the chest. Like that can happen. It was a hard hit. I've seen harder hits to the chest for sure. So why do I have a sinking and sick feeling that this has to do with an unstudied vaccination that healthy people were forced to get to work? Very few NFL players stood up and said no. I don't know if Hamlin was one who was vaxxed or not. I don't want to speculate that that's why, but so many young athletes are dying these days. The brother, a healthy linebacker brother, college football player brother of a Buffalo Bill died this year suddenly of a heart attack. Like, there are unprecedented amount of heart issues in these young people. And Hamlin, 24 years old, never had any problems like this before. I mean, it's time to get real and look at this as a potential cause. I know what it's done to Rachel, not in the heart standpoint, but in plenty of other ways. I want to know. We deserve answers. Maybe the simple answer and the easy answer is that it was that hard hit to the chest that just skipped his heart out of rhythm. But that's scary. Like, I was sitting there a couple summers ago when Ryan was playing in summer league, and I watched a guy wobble, about the same age, probably 24, 25 years old, while guarding Ryan, and he kind of wobbled, and he didn't look right. And the next time down the court, he takes 2 steps and just drops, and he died on the court. They saved him with an AED, thanks to the young man at Fenville. Ryan, his name escapes me.
Wes Leonard.
Fenville's a high school here in West Michigan, died suddenly after winning a district game, kind of in the celebration, sudden cardiac arrest. So defibrillators are everywhere in sports venues in Michigan because of his family. And, fortunately, obviously, they had an ambulance and stuff yesterday. But, I mean, they had to perform CPR, and they had to shock him back to life. Like, he died for a short period of time. His heart stopped for a period of time on that field. It's unprecedented. The only thing I can think of in my lifetime that's similar was when Hank Gathers shot a free throw and dropped and had a massive heart attack. Or actually, it happened at Rockford High School at Michigan State in summer league. This is before Ryan was in high school, but playing Saginaw in a game, and he was a freshman, I think. I can't remember his first name. Doran Dawkins dropped, like made a joke or something. People thought he was kidding, clutched his heart on the free throw line, dropped. They saved him like 4 times, but he ultimately ended up dying. It's like, it's scary. And Ryan, you called out, and I don't know if we were going to tee this up or not, but the social media thing, or the Skip Bayless, or all that. The Skip Bayless. I mean, just, hey, thoughts and prayers out to him. Like, I get it. The NFL has got to do something because that game has implications, right? Like, if you do it a no contest, it has implications. It has implications for the Bengals. It has implications for the Ravens. It has implications for the Chiefs, and it has implications for the Bills. So I get it. There's more important things to do. I kind of thought maybe they would try to get the game in today, but clearly the Bills went home yesterday. I don't see this game being played. I don't know how you solve this out. I don't know. It's the least of the NFL's concerns. They did the right thing. They should have called it right away. Like, originally to say 5 minutes, guys, warm up, let's go. No. Kudos to the coaches for
some guy from the NFL came out and said that they didn't want him to play, but I don't know.
It seemed like there was a lot of time in between, and again, I get it. Like, you put the personal aspect aside. I get it. It's a business and it's a game, and it's an important game, but in the scheme of things, it is not important.
No.
So kudos to the NFL for getting it right fairly quickly, and for ESPN with really good coverage and continued thoughts there. So, Ryan, we'll go into
and shout out to everyone, people who have donated his charity.
Oh, yeah, his charity.
$4 million.
Right, and growing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah, that shows that there, as much as I dig on humanity, because there's a lot of bullshit in humanity, there are good people out there. it's just too bad that it takes tragedies like this to pull people together. Like, why can't we be that all the time? Is what my thought and my message would be. But
yeah, crazy. Which leads us into our tee up, same topic. Skip Bayless, he's a D-bag anyway. No one likes him.
He's all about clicks and views.
He tweeted something after last. He's like, yeah, unfortunate, but like this game, like we need to play this game right now. Like this is has major implications. Like you need to let it go and play. Dude, shut up, man.
Did he ever take a snap? I mean, like, I never played
he's
football,
an
but I
idiot.
played sports enough to know,
idiot.
like, if something like that happened with my teammates, and they sat there and they watched it, like, they saw it, and they created a human shield to protect the cameras from being able to see what was going on. You saw the emotion in their faces. So, like, Skip, if this is for your TV show, get the off the air. Like, go away.
You loser.
You're a piece of shit anyway, but, like, to even have that thought in that moment, like, no, go away. Go away. I hope nobody listens to that garbage show that he has anyway. I liken him to a bigger D-bag, hot air bag than Jim Rome, who I think is still in the air, but nobody ever talks about anymore because his shtick is just so tired. So, like, get out of here, Skip. And then anybody, Ryan, you mentioned tonight, 2 people making death threats to T. Higgins for the hit. Like, first of all, he was the receiver being tackled. He turned and he lowered a shoulder, yes, to like kind of make a football move, of course. But like, anybody thinks that can happen? The only time a player has, no, this player died on the field was a Detroit Lions receiver in 19. Let's see, I've got it here in my, got it queued up. It was 1971, October 24th. The Lions were playing the Bears. Chuck Hughes collapsed, died of a heart attack. Then I'm sure they didn't. He died instantly. Only player to die in a game. In this case, I don't know how long Hamlin, his heart had stopped and quote unquote was dead, but scary. And for people to make death threats and these type of, I don't put it past people because that's what social media brings out in people is the ability to say stuff and do stuff and not be a man. And just, it's gross. It's sick. It's where we are as a society, sadly.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. So, screw you, Skip Bayless. Hope you get what's coming to you. That's some bull crap. Moving on. 4 downs, lots to discuss. College basketball is, like I said, it's going real hard. Bowl games, oh man, there were a lot of good ones.
Yeah, for
we'll jump into that.
As many bad, the fact that there's so many worthless 6-6 games, the games in the last week, like the games you would expect to be good.
When did we do our pod last week? Did we do it Tuesday?
We did it Tuesday afternoon, I think it was, the 27th.
Yeah, so since then, so was that the 27th?
Yep.
So since then, we had the East Carolina Coastal game blowout, Memphis blowout. We were watching the Buffalo game, that was close. Wisconsin game close against Oklahoma State. It was Oklahoma State kind of came back at the end, but Wisconsin Big Ten dub, good for them. Oregon North Carolina, phenomenal game.
Oh, fantastic game! Holiday Bowl is like a classic.
That's always a good
That's
game.
an underrated,
Always
classically
is.
Good bowl game.
It's always a good one.
Great comeback for Oregon. Another tough loss for North Carolina. That field was garbage by the end of the game. The kicker almost lost with a kicker. Shocker. Doinks it off the upright, but it goes in.
Let's
somehow
leave kickers
to
in
the extra point.
2022. I think that's
no kidding.
Lots of issues down the board.
But yeah, that was a fantastic game for sure.
Duke with the turnaround. It went 9-4 this year. That's not a good football program. Good for them. Beat UCF.
Mom's friend's son, the quarterback.
Ryan Leonard. Yeah, he's really good.
Nice.
And then we had get to the Liberty Bowl last. Texas Tech smoked Ole Miss. Ole Miss faltered down the stretch. I think they were 8-0 or 7-0 or whatever, and they just
7-1.
Texas Tech's on the rise. I'll tell you that. I think they have a bright future. Kansas Arkansas. That might have been one of the craziest games I've ever seen.
Unbelievable. Kansas. Arkansas is going down to just put like the extra 10th nail in the coffin. They fumble. Scoop 6. I had turned it off. Ryan texted me and was like, "You got to see this." And then they get the onside kick, which Arkansas was clearly not prepared for. And that was just back and forth and back and forth. What a phenomenal game. But again, look, 2 Power 5 programs. No offense to the non-Power 5s, but like, and okay, they were both 6-6, but they both started hot. I think Arkansas started like 5-1, and Kansas started 6-0.
Really good.
You know, so that was a great game, a fun game to watch.
That was really fun.
I remarked too, last week was the week of bowl games Michigan State had once played in. The Liberty, the Independence, the Hawaii, now the Aloha, the Sun, then it was the John Hancock Bowl, now it's the Tony the Tiger Sun. It was kind of fun to see all those old games Michigan State had played on. The not Gasparilla, the ReliaQuest, which used to be the Outback,
Yep.
the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, the one that Wisconsin played in, the Holiday Bowl.
Yep.
You know, like a lot of Gator Bowl, a lot of games Michigan State's played in.
Yeah,
But,
crazy.
one thing that I was going to talk at my podium about, and we can talk more about games clearly, but the officiating is a problem. And no, I'm not saying this to defend the whiners from AA who are blaming their loss on officials.
Well,
because,
you know what? I heard one today. They said the field conditions were bad.
right, only for you though, right, Michigan? Only for you, and the refs were only, made some questionable calls your way. Here's the thing. Losses are remembered for a play or two, but all 60 freaking minutes matter. So stop whining about it. So they overturned the touchdown early. If you don't fumble on the next one, you score a touchdown. How about you don't throw 2 pick sixes with raccoon hair head JJ frat boy punch me in the face.
Dad groping his
girlfriend's butt on national TV. McCarthy, stop, okay? Stop with the complaining and the whining. But here's the thing with Michigan. You know what? They've won the most games in the history, and according to them, they're undefeated because they've never lost a game or they've never been beaten. They've only had games stolen from them or they've only been robbed of games. Cry me a river. I rooted as hard for TCU in that game as I would for Michigan State in a game. That's how much I can't stand Michigan and their behavior. And they went into that game thinking, we got this in the bag. We're either going to cream Ohio State for the 3rd time in a row in the championship game, or we're going to get payback against Georgia. No. And by the way, your coach is probably out the door. Good freaking riddance, you weird-ass jackass. But I just, I get it. There were some bad calls. The Ohio State game, the targeting that they waved off by Georgia. I'm sorry, but that was targeting. It happened in the Tulane USC game, too. Captain's going nuts upstairs. It happened in the USC Tulane game, too, where they waved it off because it wasn't in that new small square of the crown of the helmet. Those were some vicious hits. Now, Tulane ended up winning anyway, but Ohio State, it cost them. They had to settle for a field goal. Got a chance to win it at the end, but they didn't. So, can we just stop complaining about officials already? We do it too, but officials are not the reasons why you lose games. Yes, they're the things that stand out. Yes, it's an epidemic. It's bad, but that is not why you lost Michigan. You got beaten by a better and more physical team that smashed you in the mouth while you looked at them and thought, Big 12 team, we're going to roll
they talk
all
so
over
much
you.
crap. They talk so much crap going on.
Unbelievable. So, how about, here's a good fun stat for you. Iowa had as many defensive touchdowns this year as pass touchdowns.
That's ridiculous.
Gross. Atrocious. They won 21-0 with 2 defensive scores in that game.
Yeah,
and 4 total first downs or something ridiculous. That wasn't
it
that,
was
but it was
disgusting.
awful. How about this one? Bama, 11 wins for 12 straight years. Unbelievable. They haven't had 3 losses since 2010. That is ridiculous to me. Absolutely insane. Other games like the USC Tulane. I said to Ryan when we were watching it yesterday, that it felt like the Cotton Bowl where Michigan State came back against Baylor, especially once they got that safety. And sure enough, cost me my parlay, but boom, it happens. USC just snake bit, couldn't get a stop when they needed a stop. And Tulane, everybody. Something that got pointed out, everybody in their team wears the play, the wristband thing on their belt, and they have a simplified offense. They don't huddle, and they had the biggest turnaround in college football history, from 2-10 to 12-2.
Pretty impressive.
Unbelievable.
Love their colors too.
Yeah,
that
those
was
colors
awesome.
are sick.
That was
What a
awesome
great comeback in that game.
That was pretty
Penn State gets a
convincing.
big win, but can we stop yoking on Sean Clifford? Yes, he was good, but
Finally.
of course he broke
Finally
every
he's
record. He
done.
played for 6 years.
He's finally
like
gone.
asterisk, 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 asterisk. He doesn't own all the passing and school records at Penn State. He played 2 extra years. It doesn't count, people. It doesn't count.
Yeah, he's finally done. Thank
We
God.
talked about Ohio State, Georgia. That was an epic
That was
game.
an awesome game. Wow.
You know, I was kind of hoping for Ohio State to win just to, pissing Michigan's Cheerios even more. But I picked Georgia. I picked TCU, so I'm happy with that from that standpoint. Stetson Bennett, just a gamer, came back. Georgia's so loaded with talent. They did not have their A game, and they came back and won. Feel for that kid from Ohio State. Dream to come back and kick there. Had transferred from North Carolina. Had been pretty money all season, and just
Yeah, that was a shake.
just like me on the first tee of the playoff in golf, just duck hook. Just too bad. It was like simultaneous. I have dad on my phone while we're watching the ball drop. It was kind of a crazy way to end of the day and end of the year and go into the new year.
Yeah,
trying to think of
great
what other
kickers.
Purdue.
CJ
oh my
Stroud
gosh.
balled out. I'll give him
Oh,
that.
CJ
He's
Stroud,
awesome.
totally. CJ Stroud and Bryce
CJ
Young.
Stroud and Bryce Young confirmed their
Top-
quarterback 1 and 2 in this draft.
Yeah,
1A, 1B.
The top 2 teams might not need quarterbacks, but they are
Gosh, they're
legit.
good.
They are for real. Marvin Harrison Jr. He's got another year, but he is legit. He is
Man,
for
that
real.
guy's good.
Tennessee
Tennessee smoked Clemson. Joe Milton.
Talk about smoke. LSU over Purdue. Like, Purdue, you want to show up? Like, I don't get it. Nick Saban had a great thing about opt-outs. Like, your value as a football player is playing football. Bryce Young, Will Anderson, and Alabama had a third guy, his name is escaping me, who could have opted out. They're going to
Branch.
be first-round draft picks. Could have opted out. Didn't. Played for their team and won. Like, the guys that opt out, you are not in it for your team. And that, to me, as an NFL GM, sends a message that I'm getting a guy who only cares about himself. Because, like Saban said, the stuff for the combine has nothing to do with football. And you can prepare for that as soon as you're done. Like, don't go back to school in the semester and you've got 6 weeks to prepare. I don't get it. It blows my mind. Kudos to Saban for calling it like it is, because if you're on a team, you should be playing, and you should somehow be demoted by the NFL in your draft status or something. I don't know. You would never be able to do that, but like, it's gross. It's gross that people step away from their team in the ultimate team game. The ultimate game of warriors, as we saw in the Bills-Bengals game. That blows my
Yeah,
mind.
that rubs me the wrong way. It always has. Ridiculous. Yeah, Tennessee smoked Clemson. Clemson bad in that game. Really bad.
Really bad.
Mississippi State won for the Pirate. That was awesome. All-time backdoor cover.
Yeah, back to, with the 75 lateral scoop 6, and then Illinois, like, they get mad and like they throw punches at the end of the game because they're mad that they scored the touchdown. Come on, dude! Like, really? I get it. You're frustrated that you lost, but like, you're going to be butthurt because you fumbled and they scooped it and they ran it back for a touchdown. Unless you had money on the game. I mean, why else would you be butthurt? Good for them for winning one for the Pirate from heaven.
Yeah, that was really good. Maryland, another Big Ten bowl win. Good for them. Notre Dame, South Carolina, great game.
Mm-hmm.
Pitt, UCLA.
UCLA cost me. UCLA lost very much the same way USC lost.
Yeah.
And by a
It's an
point.
LA thing. New
Yeah.
Big Ten.
New
teams,
Big Ten
yeah.
teams. Join the Big Ten. You lost in
It's a Big Ten way to
gut-punching
lose.
fashion. I mean, like, here's the thing is the better Big Ten teams fared the most crappy. Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, Purdue, Illinois, not so much. They faltered a little bit down the stretch. But, like, the only, like, upper echelon Big Ten team that showed up was Penn State.
Yeah.
And they probably got a little help because Rising got hurt for Utah.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy stuff. And now next week we got the CFP finale.
It's at SoFi. Crazy. I want to talk a little bit more about the Michigan game. We can talk.
Yeah, no, go. For it.
You can all stop. We said, JJ McCarthy. He can run 2 pick sixes on horrible decisions. He's not that good, guys. I mean, yeah, he's athletic, but is he as good as a Caleb Williams? Is he as good as a Max Duggan? Is he? No. He's above average. He's a more mobile Cade McNamara, but Cade McNamara doesn't make those mistakes.
He didn't
guys.
take the chances.
He doesn't. He doesn't lose you that game. He doesn't win you it probably, but Cade McNamara doesn't lose you that game. JJ could have quite possibly lost the game because of the stupid mistakes that he made in that game. Michigan's receivers did okay, I thought. Running game, TCU stifled them. I mean, they're a fast defense. Winters, is that his name, the linebacker?
Dean Winters, yeah, he was a wide
stud.
receiver recruit. He had like
All
3
over.
or 4 tackles for loss, a pick
all over the
6. That
place.
dude was a stud.
Yeah, all over. Then they had some.
We heard all about how they run a 3-3-5. They can't keep up.
JJ
with us.
said,
We're
"Yeah,
smash
we're
mouth. We're
smash 'em."
smash mouth.
All talk, man. Harbaugh did the same.
Telling you,
crap.
I told you beforehand that they were going to miss Quorum. You were surprised that I picked TCU to win, but Quorum was what made that running game, not Donovan Edwards. Donovan Edwards is the lightning to Quorum's thunder.
He's a
yes,
nice player, but
he's a home run back. He's a pass catching back. He's not a between the tackles back. He's just not. And their other guy was a linebacker earlier in the year. So, Michigan, I'm sorry.
your line's really good, Michigan.
The
but
Big Ten was overrated. It was.
it's like in basketball, it's
You know,
the
I
same
mean,
thing.
Michigan and Ohio State both bullied on Penn State. Michigan bullied in the second half on Ohio State to pull the difference. The Big Ten West is not even in the same stratosphere as the East. And it was those 3 teams, and that was it in the East. So, I'm sorry, the Big Ten is just as good as it is and got 2 teams in. Great, is not as good as the SEC. They're not. Could they, with recruiting, Michigan, even Michigan State, Penn State with recruiting, Wisconsin now with a new coach and maybe different recruiting philosophies. Sure, Nebraska maybe will they get back? Maybe, yeah, maybe. USC, UCLA joining the Big Ten. Sure, but here's the thing: is the lower level SEC teams were sucking hind tit in the bowls, not the top level ones. Not the top level ones.
No.
And there's a very good chance that Georgia will make it back to back for the first time, I think, in the CFP era. I don't buy favored by 13.5 to 14.5 points, depending on where you look. I already put, not the house, but I put a little bit of money on TCU to cover. I mean, I think that TCU is pretty dynamic and can play defense better than Ohio State, better than Michigan could have. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to
I
it.
agree.
I don't think TCU is going to win, but I think they'll cover that 2-touchdown
I
spread.
agree. Completely agree. Just to finish up on the Michigan thing, Duggan's a baller. I said that before. He is. Wow.
Here's a guy who came back from heart surgery and played. Lost his starting job this year.
He didn't start the year.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous,
Yeah.
and he's really good. He's a tank. Who's the running back that got hurt was really good? Then that Mercado. I thought Michigan's defense was the second coming.
Well, Mozzie had to check his weapon.
Well, he was too busy trying to get his.
He couldn't bring his
license,
his concealed and his maze pants on the field, and
Yeah,
he couldn't threaten anybody with it. And
263 on the ground for freaking TCU. That's ridiculous.
And Duggan didn't have a very good game. Like he
Yeah,
had 2 picks. He had a pick 6.
He's less than 50%.
About 50% or less passing. He would tell you he played pretty poorly.
Johnston is the real deal for
Quinn Johnston. Yeah, he's fantastic.
That guy can play. But
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a sneaky, good game.
Let's do a pick for it. I agree. I the other day I'm like, Georgia's no. I have changed my mind. I think Georgia's still going to win it, but it's going to be close. I think that it's going to be a really good game. 30-27 Georgia. I think that TCU is going to play really well and just come up a little bit short. I think the magic runs out, but I mean they're going to have nothing to feel sorry.
I smashed the spread for TCU. They're 13.5 on the spread that I got, and the over/under was 62.5. There's no way. I'm thinking it's going to be more like 40-37 or 40-35 or something like that. I think it's going to be a 1-possession game. I do think Georgia's going to score, and I don't think it's going to be a matter of TCU coming back. I think it's going to be, TCU might not have a shot at the end, a la Ohio State against Georgia, but I think it's going to be a game, and it's going to be an entertaining one to end the season.
Yeah, I could totally see that. So you're saying Georgia?
Yeah, I got Georgia.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So I guess, do you have anything else college football-wise? Maybe we can talk about Harbaugh and the scramble.
Yeah, we can talk about it. And then next week we can kind of, after the fact, we can take a look back at, how our overall prognostications went. We'll talk about the championship game and all that kind of stuff next week, and we'll see if we get any more movement on Harblow, which we can talk about in the scramble a little bit.
Good by me. All right, we'll move to second down here. College hoops. It's been busy since last week. Non-conference play finished up.
We're down to, and I don't know if they're winning tonight or not, but New Mexico is the last undefeated team.
Yeah.
Rutgers
again,
almost a year to the date, took out Purdue again with a great shot at the end. This time on the road at Mackey. That place sounded raucous. It was great. It was a fantastic college basketball game. I mean, loved watching it. Glad I didn't have a horse in the game because I would have had a heart attack either way, but love the pluckiness of Rutgers. Like, they are well coached. The guy that made that shot transferred from Loyola, Baltimore, or Loyola, Maryland, where Mom, a.k.a. my wife, Kristen, went, where they had been to like one NCAA tournament ever. And that dude just did this Matt McQuaid side saddle, buried it to win that game. And then they played great defense at the end. And, Ryan, you pointed it out, and I think they pointed it out a little bit in the studio at BTN. And Purdue's a really nice team, but they have a freshman backcourt. And if you take Edey away and you neutralize Edey a little bit, if those other guys aren't beating you, they're beatable. Like, everybody in the Big Ten is beatable. Iowa is 0-3. Penn State is 2-1 with a big win on the road, and their only loss in the Big Ten is Michigan State. Michigan State's 2-1 after blowing out Nebraska tonight. Michigan manhandled Maryland after losing to Central Michigan and spouting off. And Dick Hedson on his podcast referring, or a guest referring to Izzo as a Hitler or whatever. Like, dude, shut up and take care of your own. Okay, you did against Maryland. Sometimes you have games like that where it's just a tankola type of game.
One game a year like that at home where they just can't miss.
The one. But like, it's heating up. Wisconsin at the last, we have Kentucky,
were losing.
The LSU. Wisconsin was losing to Minnesota, who we've said is probably the worst team. Nebraska is probably fighting them right there for it. Northwestern is, I think, 2-1, 1-2. They lost to Ohio State pretty good last night, but UConn lost this week to Xavier over the weekend. That 75-76 Indiana team can crack the champagne because there ain't no way New Mexico's winning the whole thing. So we're going to go another year without an undefeated team, which is what makes college basketball so crazy and so good.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal.
A couple things from me from the Michigan State game tonight. Michigan State's largest halftime Big Ten lead since 2017. That was pretty surprising. They were up 22 at the half. And tonight closed out 5 straight opponents, held under 70 points for the first time since 2018-19, which is pretty remarkable too, because Michigan State's a pretty good defensive team. Shared the heck out of the basketball tonight. They were really crisp. They got out of double teams pretty much without fail. Kohler struggles with that still a little bit, but and they got the ball moving side to side, and they just had open look after open look after open look. It's nice to see Tyson Walker get his edge back. He'd been getting a lot of good looks, hadn't been making them. He was hot early. Finished the game, I think, with 22. Hogard had 10 assists. Hauser had another quiet 10 points, 10 rebounds. Sissoko had 10 rebounds. Kohler had 10 points. Akins didn't shoot particularly well, but he made some nice plays. Guys like Holloman continued to play good defense. Hall was a little bit more off than he was in the first game back, but he does little things for Michigan State. So, it's kind of fun to see them starting to come together. Hopefully they can stay healthy for sure. I would just run. I was talking with Chris Ryan on text. I would just run Cooper and Whitens and Kohler and just nut punch Dickinson like 15 times in that game right out of the gate and just foul those guys out. Who cares? Yeah. And get under Howard's skin. I mean, that's all it's going to take. So Izzone's going to be back. They're going to be frothy for that one.
I just hope something with fans doesn't escalate something. I'm kind of nervous about that because of the football ordeal and the bad blood between Michigan State and Michigan just in general.
I hope not. I don't necessarily see anything like that, but I mean, I guess
who's the best?
There'll be extra security there, that's for sure.
Who's the best conference in basketball? Big 12. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the Big 12 is
every team is in like the top 80 in KenPom.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, there are a lot of good teams in the Big 12. Just kind of like
so good.
TCU, first Big 12 team in in the college football playoff championship too. So, yeah, I mean the Big East is good. Maybe
Big
not
East
super
is-
deep.
I mean,
but
Marquette's
there's some
good.
really good teams in the Big East. The SEC's got some good teams. We're watching Kentucky's starting to pull away a little bit on LSU. LSU's 12-1.
Yeah, they haven't. The
Which
only
is-
good team
which
they
is
beat is
crazy.
Arkansas. But still,
But SEC's good. The Big Ten might not have like a purely dominant team, but I think they've got a lot of depth. The question is that going to hurt them come tournament time? Because that's been kind of the MO lately. There's just I can't wait. Like every night, there's just good basketball on right now. Like I want to start watching. Be a late comer to the party and start watching Yellowstone, or sit down with Kristen and be a good husband and watch Chick Show, Emily in Paris, season 3 with her or whatever. I want to rewatch some shows on Netflix, but there's no time to do it now because there's just so much good basketball.
too much
right
good
now.
basketball.
It's fantastic, and the Big Ten is going to just keep getting more and more real. Like what'd you say yesterday, Ryan? I mean, I said I thought 14-6 would win the Big Ten.
I
You're
think
thinking
13,
12-8
Yeah,
might win it.
13-7, I think is outright.
It's going to be a pile up, and the Big Ten tournament's going to be a free for all. I mean, it's going to be who gets hot. Even Wisconsin, like who's losing tonight, but Wisconsin's a decent team. Ohio State is a good team. Penn State is really pretty good. They haven't lost since they lost to Michigan State. Northwestern's only lost 3 games. Like, okay, they haven't played much, but still they beat Michigan State at Michigan State. They say in NFL, any given Sunday, it's like any given day that ends in day, there could be a Big Ten upset in basketball, and I love it. Love it. Pac-12, not so deep.
Pac-12 stinks. SEC
Not so
is
great,
decent.
but-
ACC stinks.
Yeah, ACC is definitely not what it used to be. Duke, North Carolina, eh.
Yeah.
But North Carolina was kind of at this time last year, and then they came on gangbusters, obviously, and almost won the national championship. So,
Yeah. Our Big Ten starting 5.
just including tonight.
Yeah, the Walker game, I'm smoking you. But I've played 2 more, but I'm up by almost 200 points.
Oh,
Because I have Edey, Murray, and Pickett, and they will stuff
the
that
3 of them are
spreadsheet.
like double, triple machines.
Yeah, and I've got Wall going tonight, and you have...
I had Walker at 22 points, and he had some other low-level stats, a couple steals,
pretty good
assists,
game.
whatever. But
I got nothing else on hoops.
all right.
And
Before we move to third down, a quick word from our presenting sponsor. Team Anders Realty will help you find the home that best fits your needs and makes the process simple and fun along the way. The Anders have served thousands of clients over 30-plus years in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area and are here to serve you today. Learn more at teamanders.com. All right, last week we threw in a hold down to the NFL, and I think we got to do a hold down again to the NFL. We talked about obviously Hamlin, and we can talk a little bit more about that if you want, but we've got major playoff implications this weekend. There are still 3 teams vying for 1 spot in the NFC. There are 3 or 4 teams vying for 1 spot, plus a lot of jockeying of position, and even jockeying of position in the NFC too, but jockeying of position in the AFC. What is the NFL going to do with that game last night that got postponed?
I can see a tie. Maybe.
Yeah, tie, and what is that? How does that impact things? A no contest, and I don't. That might be different than a tie. Than the Chiefs maybe on winning percentage to get the number 1 seed. I mean, there's a lot of craziness going on. Ryan, I don't know if you have the scenarios out there. I know in the NFC it comes down to
the
this.
Lions. So the NFC is booked. We've got, aside from 1 spot, Eagles are in as the 1
right now.
Then San Francisco's a 2, Vikings 3, Tampa 4, Dallas 5, New York 6. They clinch, so they're going to be the 6 for sure. Dallas 5 could move up into the
Dallas is 4, I thought.
move up.
Oh no, they're 5 because there's 4 divisions. That's
Correct. And then
right. Dallas could flip with the Eagles.
Yeah. Then Seattle's in right now technically. So if they win, and the Packers win, I'm sorry. So the Seahawks, if they win, the Lions have to win, then they get in. If the Seahawks lose and the Lions win, the Lions are in. And if Green Bay wins...
No matter what happens, if Green Bay wins,
they're in. No matter what. They win, they're in.
So if Green Bay wins,
Sunday Night Football.
they're in. If Detroit wins, they're in if Seattle loses. If Seattle wins, they're in if Detroit wins.
Correct.
And then 1, 2, 3 spots are still up for grabs because if the Eagles lose and they play the Giants,
Correct.
San
Fran
they could move down. San Fran can move up.
Yep, they play the
Cardinals. Vikings as much of an egg as they laid against Green Bay. Poor Cousins is taking a beating. It wasn't completely his fault by any stretch, although he did not play a great game. But they could still get the number 1 seed, or they could fall down as far as I think the 3 is the worst they can do. The Cowboys could flip and win the division and flip the Eagles out of there. So there's still some craziness, not necessarily for spots available, but for seeding.
For seeding, it could be ridiculous.
And then the AFC
Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincy could all technically be the 1 seed.
Yep.
Jacksonville, if they win, they're in over the Titans.
Yeah, that's a de facto playoff
awesome.
Game. Saturday night.
Chargers are already in. They're going to be the 5 most likely. Baltimore, they're in. Not playing well though without Lamar.
And the Steelers, the Jets,
the Patriots are in right
and
now.
The Dolphins.
I think this is the Steelers scenario. They need the Patriots to lose
to the Bills,
and then the Jets to beat the Dolphins, and then they get in.
And even if they don't get in, if they can get to 9-8, it'll be 16 years in a row with at least a 500
every year
record.
From Mike Tomlin, that main coach Kenny Pickett, he's going to be really good. I think they're a couple pieces.
That was a great game.
They are. I think they're a couple pieces away from being a legitimate team.
Yeah, they've got a great defense. They need to invest in that O line, but they've got a great defense and they've got
Najee
weapons
Harris
for sure.
Is really good. Pickens is really good. Muth's really good.
Yeah, they've got a makings of a nice team there. So
Dolphins have fallen off.
The Dolphins have fallen off. They still could get in. The Patriots play the Bills. What's the psyche of the Bills? Are they going to rally and play for Hamlin? I mean, there's a lot of things to be seen there. What's going to happen with? It's Chiefs kind of struggle with the Broncos. Did they send it in thinking that they didn't have a shot at the 1 seed? I don't know. Or did the Broncos just giving up were they celebrating and they actually scored points because their coach got fired last week? Captain's weighing in from upstairs a lot today. I'm sure you can hear him directly above us. So it's going to be super interesting to see how those games, and I love how they leave the TV positions open. So like the Lions and Green Bay, first time all year the Lions aren't the 1 o'clock game playing at night on Sunday night in a basically a de facto playoff game as well. They'll know by then what the Seahawks have done. Will that have an impact on how they play, or will they fight to keep the Packers out? I think the Lions will fight because they want to finish above 500 as well,
and they want to beat the freaking Packers.
Yeah. So a lot of crazy stuff in the NFL.
I'm calling it right now. I think that the Rams are going to beat the Seahawks. I just have this weird feeling.
You didn't think so last week, but I think
it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen, and the Lions are going to lose a close game to Green Bay. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, hey, the Lions played themselves into the spot, right? Like, as a Lions fan, you can't complain. They have done a lot of great things to get themselves a chance, right? They started 1-6, and they have a chance. It comes down to the last game. That's all you can ask for as a Lions fan because they've been so bad for so long. And regardless of what happens Sunday night, it gives them hope for the future.
It's a meaningful game.
You don't want those lessons learned type of losses or whatever, or but look at the turnaround. No, you want to win, but it bodes well for the future for them. Everybody wants to rave about Hutchinson, and he's had a nice season. He's had some statistical things, but Houston, he has as many sacks in half the games, right? He's not even half the games.
Dude's phenomenal.
Less than half the games.
He's so fast,
and just. I mean the Lions are a couple players away too from being a really good team.
They're a couple good linebackers and another corner away from being legit.
The Packers are on the cusp of falling down. The Bears just are stuck in whatever.
I don't think the Vikings.
The Vikings are there and they're good, but their point differential is ridiculous. They're 12-4 and they've been scored on more than they've scored. Which is why nobody wants to give them a chance in the playoffs, which is why I think maybe they can kind of rally around that and win. But, yeah, NFL is going to be crazy this weekend. It'll be a great lead into the college football playoff.
I've always liked the NFL, but this year, I love it. I love the NFL. Everything matters. Every week this year, I've been super into it. It's great. Should be fun. This week and then in the playoffs as well. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get to the scramble. Just kind of go out a few
back to golf picks, right? You want to do that first?
Yeah, we can do that. We're back to the Century Tournament of Champions at Capello Plantation Course. Last year, Cam Smith
Amazing
broke the
course.
record.
One of the fun ones
Crazy.
to watch too.
Yeah, it's a fun
especially because I
tournament.
played there.
That elevation changes on that course are
The
pretty
views.
phenomenal. The views. It's everyone that won last year on tour. It's going to be a fun tournament. It always is. Looking forward to watching it. And this is the Hawaii swing, and then we do Cali, and then Arizona, and then we get back into go to Florida, down south, and then you get to the Masters. Like, this is the next 4 months.
Getting real.
Really, the next 6 months, 7 months of golf is really, really good. And we're fired up for it. We're here for it. And yeah, I think it's a 39-man field. I'm just going to come out with my two guys. Justin Thomas, I think he played well there. I think he has tied the course record last year, so that's 61. And Tom Kim just signed with Nike for his apparel.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yep, that dude's a beast. He's 2
Hard to-
years younger than me.
Hard to argue with those picks. I'm going to go a little bit more sleeperish, and partially because I put a little bit of coinage on these guys. But I go with Billy Horschel
Billy Ho, baby.
and my boy that I picked probably most frequently last
Famous.
year, Mackenzie Hughes.
Oh, really?
Yep. Somebody's gonna have a breakthrough there. It's too easy. I mean, I love JT. I love Rom. You know, it's too easy to pick one of those guys. I think, but your picks are good too. So
Yeah.
we'll get off and running, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Then we got Sony the next week. Then the Amex. It's gonna be good. What else we got in sports?
And I'm planning my golf trip with Dave and Chris. You know, zeroing in on Vegas in March. So if anybody's got any good ideas, any good courses we should play, let us know. There's a bunch of them.
NBA. Donovan Mitchell, 71
71.
points last night. That's pretty.
Almost a 71-point triple double.
That's from 11 assists. I think 8 rebounds. Wow. I mean, that's hard to do. And he accounted for what's that? 92 points, 93 points.
Yeah, at least. I mean, assuming the assists are all 2 points,
That's-
it's 93. But a couple of them are probably 3, so probably accounted for about 100 points in that game. It's pretty unstoppable.
That's pretty awesome. I don't really pay that much attention to the NBA. Honestly, just saw that. I thought that was interesting. And Luka, he's been really good all year. So is Jokic, the Joker.
The outdoor series continues in the NHL. I'd just like to mention that was a Mark Hollis brainchild when Michigan State played Michigan in the Cold War at Spartan Stadium.
Yep.
A game that I was at, and it's been kind of a mainstay in the NHL ever since. I want to say in January, Michigan and Ohio State are playing outside in Cleveland, if I remember hearing Tyler correctly. And next year I saw that they're going to do that NHL Classic, Outdoor Classic in Seattle, which they could have done this year at Christmas time without even putting down any ice with the ice storm that they had. But
Yep.
Red Wings, their traditional Christmas or New Year's Eve game, they won that. They got some injured guys back. I read or I saw lately, so they were a little bit on a slide there in November, December, late November, early December. So hopefully they can kind of pick it back up and make the playoffs, because there's nothing like watching the Red Wings in the playoffs in hockey. That's for sure.
I completely agree. Yeah. What else? We can talk about Harblow a little bit. Apparently, according to sources, John U. Bacon said it also. So, and he's a Michigan homer. He said that he heard the same thing. That if Harbaugh gets offered an NBA or an NFL job, that he's going to bolt. He's
Talked to the Panthers already.
hit more than
talked to
1 foot out the
Broncos.
door last year and didn't get the job and came back. And he said
It's
earlier,
freaking weird.
about a month ago, "Oh, I'm not going anywhere." Yeah, right, dude. He wants to get back into the pros. It's obvious. He's an egotistical jackass.
His recruiting has been a little off lately. I mean, the fact that they didn't have anybody better than a former linebacker as a third string running back tells you that he's not recruiting as well as he used to be recruiting.
No.
And the question is then, where do they go? Like, there's Pipe Dream, they'll, like, back in the day it would have been Gruden or whatever. Like, who's that name this year? I don't know. Sean Payton, like,
Yeah,
right?
No, exactly.
So it'll be interesting to see which direction they go, because, Michigan's got talent certainly in their cupboard. They're going to be coming back, but I hope he goes. I'm just so tired of his shtick. The way that he
is a
bullied
pain in the
bullied
ass.
Michigan State and stuff with the whole tunnel gate, which was their fault to begin with. Doesn't happen if they just keep their house in order. The way he let a felon who, pled down to a misdemeanor, whatever, play on his team with nary a word, the way he behaved towards Michigan State. Like, get out. You're an ass clown, Harbaugh. I'm tired of your shtick. Tired of looking at you. I'm tired of watching you. I'm tired of your weirdness. Like, I'm tired of the cockiness of your players, like your quarterback. Just get out of my face. Get out of my face.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else, honestly. Do you?
No, not that I can think of. I mean, you know, we'll get into the new year. Obviously, college football is going to go bye-bye. We got about another solid 5-6 weeks of NFL left. Basketball is going to be king here for the next 3 months. Golf's picking back up. So, you got any topics you want us to talk about? Any guests you want us to try to snare? Legitimate guys that we can actually get. I mean, there's a lot of people we'd like to talk to, but let us know. I might have to work the phones and see if we can get Kurt Warner at some point in time.
That'd be kind of sick.
Work the old relationship. That would be kind of fun to have him on the podcast just to chit chat. I know it's, you know, cross the party lines with the NFL stuff, but maybe we can just talk to him about what it was like to have watch his kids play. Cade, you know, transferred from Nebraska and played for Kansas State this year, receiver, and EJ started at quarterback for Temple as a freshman. So, but let us know if you got any topics, or, you know, we can get back into Mount Rushmores. We can get back into, you know, top 10 lists or brackets and all that kind of stuff. We got to leave a little bit of fodder for summer, otherwise we're going to start rinse and repeat our content.
Yeah, you
all
don't
the
want
time.
to hear that.
I don't want to do that. So, then if podcasts go a little bit shorter, they go a little bit shorter. But
yeah, that's all right. All right, we'll do a sprint. You ready?
Yep, let's go.
All right, what's the best, or I guess the best or what golf tournament you most look forward to pre-Masters?
Pre-Masters, good question. You know, there's a lot of good ones. I definitely like the Waste Management.
That one's very fun.
You know, the course is gettable, so it's kind of fun. I like the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. You know, Bay Hill is kind of sneaky good. The Buick, is it the Buick still? That's at Torrey.
That's the Farmers.
The Farmers now. That's a good one. I mean, it's hard to beat Kapalua just because I've been there, I've played there, and it's so beautiful. So I'm going to call it a tie between the Waste Management and Kapalua.
I'd say the Players or Waste Management for me.
Yeah, Players is a fun one too.
Yeah, that's a fun.
Be interesting
course.
this year without Cam Smith in it.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, we didn't talk about this at all in the Scramble, which I just remembered this as looking at this question. There's talks about them expanding the NCAA tournament to 90 teams.
Again,
voting
they were
on
talking about no.
Yep.
A hard no. If you do that,
Well, you think
are
they
gonna-
will actually do it?
No,
I think they're going to do it
No.
because they're jackasses. And
I don't think they will, because I think smarter, cooler heads will prevail. It'll water it down. All that does is it doesn't mean more, you know, David's getting in to play the Goliaths. It means more average Goliaths.
Stupid team.
It means more like, I'm sorry, but Northwesterns this year, who may have a winning record but are hind tit in the Big Ten, getting in the tournament. What good does that do? There's no excitement there. The excitement is in the stretch to 68. I could live with. Don't go beyond that. Just don't. The playing games have gotten good. They've gotten that figured out. They really do a nice job with bracketology and like last four in and next four in and next four out and all that kind of stuff. Not with 90. I mean, at that point, why don't you just let everybody play? Why don't you make college football playoffs, 32 teams too instead of 12? No. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's stupid. Don't do it. I hope they don't do it.
They better not, but I feel like they might because they're all money chasers. All right, who's the next NFL coach to get sent packing?
Boy, so we already lost.
We've lost Reich.
Well, we lost Rule technically.
We lost
because
Reich. We
Carolina's
lost Rule.
job is
We've
open.
lost Hackett.
I don't know. Does Washington look at axing Rivera?
I've
he
heard
seemed
that.
to not even know that his team had to win that game to stay in the playoff hunt. I don't know. He corrected that later, but
I've heard that.
Houston's been through a few coaches lately, and they just need some players. So I don't necessarily think they're San Diego's coach or LA Chargers coach was supposedly on the hot seat before. He's not anymore. He's in the playoffs. McDaniels, I don't know, but he made a move by benching Derek Carr, and they actually almost beat.
Stidham did well.
They actually almost beat the 49ers. I don't think they're going to get rid of him after 1 year, although the Raiders are the Raiders, and you never know.
They're owner.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really. I mean, nobody completely stands out to me.
Kingsbury for me.
Oh, yeah, good call.
He's toast.
Good call. Yeah,
I think he's toast. I've heard McDaniels could be toast. I still have heard that the Chargers do not want Brandon Staley around anymore.
Which is crazy because
He's
good
a
young
good
team.
coach.
He's a good coach.
Shit, the Lions get Rivera and Glenn. They can have him as their defensive coordinator. I'd be fine with it.
Right.
I would not be surprised to see a Pete Carroll retire. Maybe he's old.
Well, it depends. If they get into the Rodgers sweepstakes, if Rodgers really does, they'll say the same. Let's say Detroit beats them and they don't get in the playoffs.
I've heard
Does
Todd
Rodgers
Bowles'
leave?
name as well, the coach of the Buccaneers.
How much is that just because they're old? I mean,
Yeah,
okay,
they are.
Brady is
And
good,
Herb-
but he's 300 years old. At some point in time, you need a young quarterback that can move.
I've heard Rivera as well. I'm trying to think if I've heard anybody else. I think that's it. They said Stefanski for a little bit, but they're kind of played better since Deshaun has gotten back. That's really it, honestly. I feel like everyone else is pretty safe. I mean, McVay could retire, I guess, but I don't know if he'll do that. I think my odds are on Kingsbury. I think he's next Monday, Black Monday. He's gone.
Yeah, I could see that.
Their
for sure.
GM, I think their owner, their GM's on out for personal stuff. I think and he's bad. They're gonna axe him too. I think just reset. Wouldn't be surprised if Sean Payton ends up. All right, last one, fun one. Who has the best? Which chain has the best pizza?
Oh, which chain has the best pizza? That's a good question. Don't think we've ever done that one before.
No.
Man, for me, it's a toss-up to me between Papa John's and Jets.
Yeah.
Jets isn't really outside the Midwest, but within around here, we can't get Papa John's, but I would say it's a toss-up between the two.
I say Jets. I love Jets.
Jets is great pizza.
It's always been good. All right, that's 105.
Plus, we
folks.
won the free pizzas once for you.
Yeah.
2 free pizzas
That was
for a week.
ridiculous. Wow, that's 105. Appreciate you guys listening. If you have any ideas, we want you to shoot them our way. So we're not repeating stuff, and you want to hear interesting stuff, want to hear our takes on it. We'd love to hear them, but we appreciate you guys listening. Pound that like button, whatever you're listening on. Leave a comment if you want. Tell us we're good. Tell us we suck. Whatever. We're just happy that we have some listeners, and we love doing this. Happy 2023 to all. Have fun watching football this weekend. Natty next week, Monday. We'll probably be back on it next Tuesday. Probably release around the same time because Michigan State plays at 7 next Tuesday as well. So, appreciate you guys listening.
And it's about sponsorship renewal time, and while I think the Anders will definitely re-up, if you're interested in a sponsorship, hit the big fella
Please.
up, text them,
We'd
Instagram,
love to do
Twitter, whatever. We can always go with another sponsor as well, and we love our golf, so we're always up for a trade too. Meantime, while I usually end with a relatable quote or something funny from TV shows or whatever we watch or movies, instead I'll leave you with this today, a prayer for Damar Hamlin. Lord, look upon Damar with eyes of mercy. May your healing hand rest upon him. May your life-giving powers flow into every cell of his body and into the depths of his soul, cleansing, purifying, restoring him to wholeness and strength for service in your kingdom. Amen.